goals. Stuart Skinner's never tasted defeat head-to-head against the Chicago Blackhawks. He's a perfect 4-0. Of course, the Oilers have won 8 of 9 head-to-head in this series. Colton Dach and Connor McDavid, and we're underway. Edmonton, Chicago, the first of 3 this season. And Spencer Knight handles a dump in and puts it off the plexi. McDavid playing with Mangiapane and Nugent Hopkins to start the game. Ilya Mikheyev with nearly a turnover. He's a little banged up playing tonight. Their 2 best defensive forwards, Louis, not at full strength. Mikheyev is playing. Jason Dickinson is not.
Yeah, welcome addition back in the lineup. He has that speed and the ability to play a 200-foot game and really pressure the puck there. That's something Jeff Blashill has talked about his team this year, is playing on their toes. They want to check fast. They want to backtrack fast. They want to make sure they're pressuring all over the ice.
And as a result, they have a slightly better record than Edmonton entering this game. The Hawks a surprising 5-4-2, their best start since the 18-19 season. Draicidl walks in, dishes back, Nurse fires, and that pinballed into the corner. Darnell Nurse coming off the 4th 2-goal game of his career in Edmonton's 4-3 overtime loss to the Rangers on Thursday, the same night as I mentioned. Chicago was shellacked by the Jets 6-3. But to your point, Louis, even that game, they're down 5-1. They made a game of it.
They did, and they came storming back. That was a good save, by the way, by Spencer Knight with the blocker, fighting off that shot by Nurse, coming down the middle once again and receiving the pass from Draicidl. But yes, we saw almost a turnover again on the line, and that's something Edmonton's going to have to clean up, especially against young, fast teams like this Hawks team.
Jake Wallman flips a shot wide. Rebound tracked down by Connor Bedard. His 5th career game against the Oilers. He scored the first time he was in this building. But Edmonton got the next 4. And like I said, it's been a series that as of late has been dominated by Edmonton. Winners of 8 of 9. Connor Murphy, one of 2 veterans on that Chicago back end. The other 5 guys relatively inexperienced. Grzelcyk holds on to it. A centering pass redirected on net. A tough save made by Skinner. His point blank was Burakovsky, who scored a breathtaking goal the other night against Winnipeg.
It was a defensive play that turned into an offensive chance for the Chicago Blackhawks, just knocking the puck down right into the goaltender, Stuart Skinner.
Levshunov and Grzelcyk, the deep pair out for Chicago under first-year head coach Jeff Blashill. He of the 7 years as a head man in Detroit and 3 more as an assistant under John Cooper in Tampa. Flipped in by Wyatt Kaiser, and that's tracked by Matthias Ekholm. Up the left-hand side, mishandled quick shot from the point, and that's sent wide. Louis Crevier. Here's Noah Filt for the Oilers, drawing back into the lineup as a 12-4. The Oilers have played the last couple going 11-7, and that's the alignment Chicago has been in for most of the season. 10 of their first 12 games, to be exact. Colton Dach up the right-hand side, and Landon Slaggert will send it in deep.
Yeah, the traditional 12-6 for Chris Novak in the Edmonton Oilers. You mentioned Noah Filt back into the lineup after missing the last 3. Also, Curtis Lazar will be on his line, injected back into the lineup for the 12-4.
Tomashik and Stetcher scratched. Well, our forward thinking is brought to you by Workday, moving business forever forward. Louis, what do you have?
Well, I talked about it with Jeff Blashill, and one of the things he said this morning to you and I was, in the defensive zone especially, recover back to the middle in the D zone. Be aggressive out at the points, but once that pass is made down low, get back to the middle, and we've talked about it at length with the Edmonton Oilers. It's been the topic of discussion. Turnovers, managing the puck will be critical against the Hawks.
No control, select page 1 of 4. Go back, play, button, paused.
Tyler Bertuzzi sends one wide. Mangiapane back down low. Chicago coming off back-to-back 31st place finishes, but definitely in the mix, at least at the start. Here's Bertuzzi up the right-hand side. Frank Nazar. Like Bedard, talented. In fact, Chicago going 11-7 for much the same reason that Edmonton does. Creates other ways to get, in Edmonton's case, McDavid and Draicidl on the ice. For Chicago, it's Bedard and Nazar. Here's a one-timer taken by Nugent Hopkins, and a good save made by Spencer Knight early. Bouchard. The second one is he also stopped Nurse, as Louis talked about. Shot Bouchard, and that drops at the feet of Knight, and he'll squeeze it with 4 minutes gone by in the scoreless first.
Yeah, good job by Bouchard to sift this one through on the wrister. Nugent Hopkins has a nice chance earlier. on the entry into the zone. Get a puck in deep, work it to the slot. This is a good one-timer as he funnels right into the left circle and lets that one go. Spencer Knight again fights that one off. 9 points on the season in the last 9 games for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
By the way, the Jays got out of that jam, so 9 defensive outs away from their first World Championship since 1993, which, oh, by the way, was the last time a Canadian team reigned supreme in the NHL. Here's a shot by Ekholm, jabbed at by Knight, and then thrown back behind for Draicidl. Inside, quick shot fired wide by Roslovic. Roslovic has been around it. He'll be the subject of After Hours tonight with Gene Principe and Louis DeBrusk. This is an icing call against Chicago.
Yeah, shift after shift here trying to follow up and keep the Chicago Blackhawks hemmed in. Leon Draisaitl's made a couple real nice passes early in this game. He found Nurse on the first shift, and here Roslovic, who's really had a strong game as of late. Moving his feet, getting to spots, and having that shot mentality as he zips that one from between the hash marks. Gets open for Draisaitl. That puck's usually on your stick.
Knight, a big reason why Chicago's off to a good start. Off the draw, Bouchard tried to force it to Draisaitl. Picked off by Ryan Donato, who just thrived in Chicago last year, obliterating his previous career highs across the board.
Doubling them.
Roslovic weaving to his right, and he'll send it in deep. Knight's going to beat Podkolzin to the puck and leave it for Kaiser. Outlet to Mikheyev, and Chicago will sprint up ice. Murphy on to Donato. He'll shovel behind the Oiler net. Reaching it at first is Ty Emberson, but that's held in by Grizzly. Working down low, Ryan Green. Up top, Grizzly. A shot, that fluttered wide. Rebound onto the ice, Bedard mishandled. Unable to convert going the other way is Matt Savoy, who picked up his first National Hockey League goal in that aforementioned loss to the Rangers. Bedard, sharp angle shot, drifts wide. Grizzly across. Levchinov down low, and now you've got Burakovsky. Interior play to Bedard, tracked by Levchinov. And the rookie defenseman over to Grizzly. He'll dump it in.
Good job to keep that to the outside. Something Chris Knobloch talked this morning to us about was being on their toes in the defensive zone. Pushing things to the outside, attacking the puck carrier a little bit more aggressively, taking that time and space away.
Crevier steers it to Slaggert, whose dad was added to the Oilers hockey operations department earlier this afternoon. Wallman has a puck deflected out of play. No score. 6 minutes in. Yeah, the Jays are prevalent, even out here in Alberta.
High in the air to deep center. It is gone.
Yeah, so this was the scene inside Rogers Place just prior to the doors being opened. And Louis and Jack, it's amazing because this is a wonderful matchup tonight, but lots of eyes and ears and hearts are following the Jays right now with Game 7 of the World Series.
A lot of people checking their phones. If you're watching the stands, up and down.
Jays have built their lead to 4-2 now, bottom of the 6th. So 9 outs away. Here's Darnell Nurse, scoreless game. 6.5 gone by. Edmonton, Chicago. The Oilers finish up a 3-game homestand. They're in the midst of a stretch of 17 of 24 on the road. They'll be in St. Louis and Dallas next week. Shot by Wallman, redirected wide. The Hawks able to clear. Meanwhile, Chicago, game 2 of a season-long 12-day trip, which includes 6 games. Lead pass up the left-hand side. Vlasic, and now a shot off the rush. Nazar, and a good save made by Stuart Skinner. Rebound flicked in front. Falling down was Nazar, keeping it alive, and back to the point for Kaiser, who blistered one wide. Rebound, Sam Rinzel, centering pass, waiting, dishing, Teravainen, shot coming, and a save made. Skinner square to the shooter, and he stops Burakovsky.
Set up by a nice little backhand pass by Rinzel on the left wall to get it into the middle, and Nazar's been terrific for the Hawks this year. This is a no-looker. He tries to test Stuart Skinner early on, then it's just puck recoveries. A second chance. He kind of shovels through on the flyby. And Burakovsky had a chance to pick his spot glove hand high, and Stuart Skinner stood his ground.
Off the draw, the Oilers come away with the puck. Roslovic gave it away. Kaiser cross ice, and that was deflected and forced back through the middle. Oilers 3-0-2 on the young season at home, where they've struggled on the road. As a result, the overall record 5-4-3. Here's Draicidl, a backhander denied off a setup from Podkolzin. This line is clipped. A drive by Ekholm got through, and Knight a positional stop. Cleared ahead by Green. Burakovsky wide open in front and healing it over the net. What a chance for Bedard. Louis, no one was around.
He got lost. Did he ever?
Draicidl looking for Roslovic. Charging toward the net, spinning and centering. A shot by Kulak and a save made by Knight. Rebound grab and cleared by Green. An unlikely candidate to play on the top line, the rookie out of Boston University, but Jeff Blashill likes how Green is meshed, at least early, with Burakovsky and Bedard. Here's Kulak, a blast, and that's gloved easily by Knight with 11.5 to go. Scoreless, period one.
Connor Murphy with a nice box out to allow Spencer Knight to see that puck. Here's the quick passing around. Aggressive forecheck, turns the puck over. Roslovic to Podkolzin out to Draicidl on the spin backhand move, and this is just Bedard getting lost. I mean, he continues all the way to the net and just can't quite handle this hard pass from Burakovsky, who stops up inside the line, allows for Connor Bedard to get to the back door. Don't want to leave him alone too often around the net like that.
Azar beaten off the draw by Adam Henrique. Kulak laterally across to Anderson and then fed along the boards. That's going to be picked up by Mikheyev, who scored 20 last year. Think of him as a defensive guy, a shorthanded threat, but he can also fill the net. Gets lots of chances. Mikheyev gives it up for Grzelcyk. Successfully on to Ryan Donato. He's found a home apparently in Chicago. He's bounced around a bit. He's on his 15th, but as we talked about, breakout year last year. And he'll soccer it down low for Mikheyev. Sealed by Kulak. Mikheyev still under control. Wrestled free by Frederick, and that hopped over the stick of Connor Murphy, who backhands it in.
Yeah, you pot 31 like Donato did last year. I think it's a pretty good job to stay there and try and be put so they work out a deal, and he's going to be there for a bit, which is exciting for a player that's jumped around a little bit. He's found a home. Already 6 goals on the early season for Donato this year. So he continues that hot hand in a Hawks uniform.
Slager bangs it in. Jake Wallman, nifty move to get away from Colton Dock and on to Noah Phil. Looking for Lazar. He was stood up. Lazar making just his 3rd appearance this year. Did score in the late stages in Jersey. Here's Phil inside to Lazar. That shot deflected. And Tyler Bertuzzi flipped it off the glass and back inside the Oiler line. Darnell Nurse coming off his best game of the year. Not just the 2 goals, just his all-ice game. Stood out on a night where the Oilers were otherwise a little sloppy in their own end. Wyatt Kaiser shoots it in. Wallman did not get it out. Teravainen really had his pocket pick, got it back, tried to thread it through. That went off Nurse. Bertuzzi against McDavid comes free to Teravainen. Pestered by Mangiapane. Helped out by Nazar. Behind the net and in front to Nazar. Bertuzzi tried to get it to him. Still available, and Bertuzzi eventually flipped it back to Vlasic. In front to Nazar, and then Bertuzzi could not get it back to him. Cleared successfully by Mangiapane. McDavid stood up at the line by Vlasic, and here comes Chicago on the counter. Vlasic centering pass, and that tied up everyone. Burakovsky to the point. Rinzel, Nazar a shot, and did that catch crossbar?
It did.
And ricocheted into about the 12th row to my left. That had heat on it. But the missile stays out. And we remain 0-0. 9 minutes to play on Hockey Night in Canada.
Sometimes it pays.
Cassie Campbell Pascal here with her daughter's U18 AA hockey team from Calgary. And of course, she's sporting a Jays had. Louis and Jack talking about just the Jays fever involved in the building. Stuart Skinner this morning said he is focused on his team, but he says when it's quiet and he hears a cheer in the building, he knows something good has happened for the Jays. Chris Knobloch was asked whether, you know how they have monitors at their feet, Louis and Jack, whether he'd have hockey or baseball in there. He said it would be hockey, but Louis makes sure that's the case. And have a look.
The Warrior gone. Oh, breaking loose. Podkolzin. He's in. Denied by Knight. Now Podkolzin has drawn a penalty, and here we go. With Vasily Podkolzin heading for a penalty shot.
A penalty shot has been awarded to Edmonton's number 92 for a hooker.
Great job by Podkolzin to keep his feet moving here. This little carom off the wall by Bouchard. Little touch pass into a streaking Podkolzin. And he just tucks the shoulder. This is protection. Brings the forehand right there. That last poke by Bedard. Takes a skate out. He goes barreling down. And penalty shot.
Not only the first career penalty shot for Podkolzin, Louis, but this is only the second. He's had a shootout attempt. He goes in and pushes one wide. He only had one shootout attempt prior to that. Knight stayed with him, forced him out wide, and Podkolzin unable to bury against Spencer Knight.
He rings the bar here.
Did he get the outside of the goalpost?
Goes for the deke. Little fake, opens up, comes to the forehand and tries to elevate and rings it off the bar. So he had Spencer Knight down, just couldn't quite come up with the right angle to put that into the mesh.
I thought it clipped the side of the net, but absolutely it got goalpost there. I thought Knight did a nice job of staying with him and not committing too early, but nevertheless, you're exactly right. He did get it through that stick. But the Oilers remain scoreless. Here's Donato, a backhander from a tough angle into the feet of Skinner, who kicked it out, but the rebound cleared successfully by Roslovic on to Draisaitl. Tried to backhand it in front, and that's picked off by Colton Dock. But Colson, a lot of speed, just pushed it wide. Roslovic had it go off his skate, backhanded in deep by McKay. Ekholm up the right-hand side for Tuesday. Home from Bouchard. Rink wide on to Trent Frederick. Cut inside. Quick drive. Knight wasn't sure, but he's got it. Against Matt Savoy, able to squeeze that 5-hole shot and keep this game scoreless.
A quick chance for Savoy here, just funneling.
Bouchard. Rink wide on to Trent Frederick. Cut inside. Quick drive. Knight wasn't sure, but he's got it. Against Matt Savoy, able to squeeze that 5-hole shot and keep this game scoreless.
A quick chance for Savoy here, just funneling through the middle. And this puck just comes right through to him. Good job here to drive it down the wall by Frederick. And as he comes to the middle, he takes two Hawks with him. And the puck just goes right through. And Savoy with his speed gets there and does the right thing. He lets this go in a hurry. And that's a reaction save for Spencer Knight. You can hear the eruption here as they're showing a little bit of the baseball game on the big screen.
4-2, end of 7, I believe. Yeah, double play to end the 7th inning. Louis 6 outs away. The Toronto Blue Jays, who won back-to-back World Series in 92 and 93, looking to close it out in the first Game 7 of any kind played in the city of Toronto since 1964. Even you weren't born then. Here's Adam Henry. Daniel loved that.
Yeah.
Emberson gets it back from Kulak. Savoy got a piece. Knight tried to jab it away from Frederick, who was able to tie up in the corner. Trent Frederick's got 3 goals in his last 4 against the Hawks. Teravainen didn't get it out. Isaac Howard on to Henrique, and he'll work it around the boards as Lazar has come on for Frederick, and he'll forecheck against Drizzly. Long-time Boston Bruin. 8 years with Boston. Philp over to Darnell Nurse. Up the gut, Lazar clubbed it in. He'll go in against Connor Murphy. Curtis Lazar getting worked over by Murphy, who's now been in Chicago 9 years. Longest tenured Hawk.
He's the old guard.
Big hit on Slaggert by Lazar, who's got him stapled. Philp worked it free. Howard's open, shoots right off the mask of Spencer Knight.
Yeah, good chance there by Howard. He looked to try and make a pass, didn't force it. Took it to the net, forced Spencer Knight to make a save, short side.
Starting to get chances on a daily basis, yep. Louis.
And he has that mentality. He wants to bring it to the net. He's got a great release. Isaac Howard.
Doesn't need much time to lock and load. Here's Burakovsky. One-timer Crevier, and that was blasted wide. Vlasic hammered it wide. You got more than 13 feet of defensemen out on the ice for Chicago. Connor Bedard, shadowed by Ekholm. Scoreless, 6 minutes to play, first period. Hawks and the Oilers, first of 3 this year. Vlasic's open. He'll shoot, and a save up near the clavicle handled by Stuart Skinner.
Good save by Stuart Skinner to swallow that up as there was some traffic in front. The Twin Towers on the back end. Big wrister by Crevier. And here's the chance by Howard. Looks for a pass, not there. Take it to the net. This one goes right off the beam.
One of the all-time greats, Ryan Smith from the Edmonton Oilers. He's made his way up the ladder. Only one more to go with Kevin Lowe. And Louis and Jack, if I overheard your conversation correctly, it should be New Year's Eve when that happens.
Yeah, for 1,000 against Boston, provided he stays healthy. And then he would pass Kalo, theoretically.
Fooling anybody with that mustache.
Yeah, here's Draicidl, leaving it for Podkolzin, who again hit the post on a penalty shot earlier. Now hunts down a loose puck, side of the net. Still available. Knight has not frozen yet, and now the whistle goes with 5.5 to go. We're still scoreless.
Sometimes it pays to be a bad fan. Every game is your game. Bet with Sports Interaction.
Pushing the boundaries on consumer journalism and demanding accountability. Marketplace, new episode Friday. Watch free on CBC Gem.
I meant that in a good way for Nuge. He still looks really young.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he'll break Kevin Lowe's all-time Oiler record for games played in the final week of the regular season. Nurse from Draicidl on to Jake Walman, a wrist shot off the right shoulder of Spencer Knight, and the rebound taken. A little nonchalant with that clear, Ryan Green. Jeff Blashill won't like that, but Donato is going to be able to skate this up through center. Wristed down deep, and that actually careened all the way off the corner boards and all the way back into the Chicago zone. Backhanded up by Rinzel. Safely on by Donato back to center. Roslovic from Emberson, and now Draicidl will have to tag back up. He does. Roslovic is onside, only to have it stripped from behind by Donato, who one-hands it through Emberson, but not Kulak with the support. Now wide open is Adam Henry. Dishes cross ice, and that was broken up. And Louis, you've mentioned a couple of those lateral maneuvers have not panned out for Edmonton in the first month this season.
Yeah, that was a good stick by Bertuzzi, but you're right. You know, when you're forcing it and you just don't feel like they're getting through, sometimes the best chance is just getting it to the net. That was a nifty little pass by Roslovic to set up that almost 2-on-1.
Hard work coming off the inboards. Frederick kept it alive, and a quick chance and a save made by Spencer Knight against Savoy, who's on it again. Both Savoy and Howard in their first full years in the NHL with some good looks here in this first period.
This line's had some looks for Edmonton, just going to work in the offensive zone. And Savoy's been the recipient of a couple. That one there, real sharp angle shot, but that just tells me he's starting to feel really confident bringing that puck to the net. Sharp angle, took a look, thought he saw some light of day above the shoulder of Knight. Good save on the sharp angle.
Ekholm to Bouchard, up the middle. McDavid makes a move around Bedard. Nugent Hopkins a backhander, that one off the leg. Bouchard steps up, slide step, and had his shot deflected away by Crevier. Another turnover by Burakovsky, but then Nugent Hopkins nearly had it stolen by Bedard. Wheeling over to make a play on the puck as Ekholm will snap it ahead for Mangiapane. One touch to McDavid. Tried to kick it back to Bouchard. Wide open Ekholm. Swept pass. Shot Mangiapane, and that may have deflected off a Slagger. Not sure he got that through. And Slaggert's able to skate it up the center where Bedard will put the brakes on. Turned it over to McDavid. 3 minutes to go. Oilers have outshot the Hawks by a better than 2-1 margin, but this is what Spencer Knight has done in most Chicago games this year. He has been on it. Went into that Winnipeg game by far and away the league leader in goals saved above expected. A bit of an advanced stat, but indicative of how well he's played behind a youthful defense.
He gives him a chance. Almost every night, Jack. He's been that good.
Nick Foligno flipped it in. Lazar will send it in deep. Knight to knock it down. Then Lazar cut it off. Heads for the net. Kaiser, a nice job of kind of bulldozing into his midsection and allowing a clear back through the middle. William McCabe will send it in deep. Grabbed by Wallman, knocked off his stick. Bertuzzi put it down low. Noah Philp on the puck. Nurse in close quarters, shook it free for Howard, and now Philp darting up to the red line. Nurse will snap it around the boards. That's going to be picked up by Bertuzzi. Minute 40 to play, first period. Still no score in the hockey game. Both teams coming off defeats. The Oilers in their last 4 games, we've seen a significant uptick from the blue line in terms of production. 6 goals in the last 4 for the Oiler defenders. Bouchard riding his man off the puck. Ekholm comes over, knocks it away from Donato. Draicidl on to Roslovic. Bomb in attendance tonight. Twisted back to center by Vlasic, and Donato will fling it into the zone for Chicago with a minute to play in the period.
Yeah, nice job by Vlasic there, just to ride Roslovic into the wall, not allowed to make that subtle little pass into Draicidl.
Draicidl gathering steam. Points in 18 straight against Chicago, and he's drawn a holding call. It's the longest active point streak against any team by any player in the NHL. And that hard drive, Louis, draws the first power play.
Yeah, get the feet moving and get ratchet up and drive the puck down. And here it is here as he just tucks the shoulder, that outside inside move on Kaiser, and he reaches in. And grabs onto Draicidl, so a good job he turned around right away to see if there was a call on the play, holding the stick, as he just wouldn't allow Draicidl to kind of get that big paddle over. First power play goes to Edmonton.
Are you cautioning him not to look so guilty next time?
No, it was Draicidl looking to see if there was a call. He knew.
So Draicidl, McDavid, who, oh, by the way, has 22 points in his last 12 against Chicago.
Yeah, if you're the culprit, don't be looking at the referee.
Roslovic power play time here, Louis, with Tomashik a healthy scratch tonight. Bouchard a shot just wide. Rebound chipped off the side of the net. Neither Draicidl nor McDavid could come up with it. McCabe does and slugs it down the ice. David Tomashik has been the net front presence on this first Oiler power play unit, which comes in at 30%. Third in the league. Nugent Hopkins dishes off McDavid. Cross ice tip. Roslovic catches, puts it on the deck in one motion, then spins away and kicks it out for Bouchard. Nugent Hopkins cross ice tipped. McDavid off his wrong skate, threw it in front, and that deflected up over top. McDavid still with 10 seconds. Bouchard's got to let it fly here. Walks the line. McDavid dishes. One-timer. Draicidl off a night, off the side of the net. Nugent Hopkins. Draicidl near the horn, scores. You make the call, partner. That's tight.
I thought it was good. Regardless, they're getting off the ice, it looks like. Draicidl wants to have a walk-off goal, potentially. He doesn't think about his reaction that it got in time, but we're going to take a look at it here. 8-7-6, you watch it. Oh, just as it expired, it looks like.
review to determine if the puck entered the net before the period
I don't think
ended.
it's going to count, Louis, if I may, and it's not, doesn't have anything to do with Edmonton scoring, but I'm a proponent of the NBA rule, where if the shot is released before the zeros, it should count. Now, that's not the rule. That's the big difference between the NBA and the NHL.
Pretty quick review.
Yeah, this won't count.
After video review, it was determined that time expired before the puck crossed line. We have no goal.
I mean, right on the zeros. You can't make it closer than that without it being a goal, but Draisaitl almost had a walk-off goal there. He was going to go right down the tunnel, and they reviewed it, but here it is here. They knew that the time was winding out, had to get this puck from behind the net quickly, and just a little bit of a screen using Murphy beats Spencer Knight, but doesn't beat the clock. And you watch right here, it just crosses the line as it goes to zero.
That's not a 10th of a second. That's like a 50th of a second. So, scoreless, not by much. Nevertheless, 20 minutes complete. Straight ahead, Ozempic, first intermission with Ron and the panel. This is Hockey Night in Canada.
Tickets now at EdmontonOilers.com. 50-50. Well, you heard Ron and the panel discussing the Toronto Bluejays, and I have to tell you, up here, I was kind of digging through some of my artifacts. Might be a little hard to tell. So you can see it's a baseball. It's signed by Pat Borders, who was the MVP in 1992 when the Jays won the World Series. It's a 4-3 bottom of the 8th. We'll wait to see if they win who their next MVP of the World Series will be. The Jays have had a wonderful October and hoping that November begins with the win in the final game of the baseball season. We wait to see what happens there. The Oilers waiting for their game to really evolve in November. That certainly was the case last year and to an extent the season before. It is something that Chris Knobloch has preached that the Oilers are waiting to be better next month, Louis and Jack, and they would love to start it off tonight.
Scoreless through 20. Remember, the Oilers on a power play for the first minute and change to start the second period, but good defending at the line baits Edmonton into an offside call, so neutral zone faceoff upcoming 9 seconds in.
Yeah, it helps to have the reach of 6'4" Connor Murphy and 6'6" Vlasic out there kind of protecting that defensive line on the entry. Doesn't happen too often with Edmonton when McDavid's got the puck on his stick that it's offside.
Draisaitl won the draw. McDavid will rush the puck in and get around McKay. Angled one off the boards for Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl came in, team leader with 8 goals. Back to the point, Evan Bouchard. Nugent Hopkins across, Draisaitl swung it in front, deflected and cleared length of the ice by Teravainen, and that brings the Oiler power play time down to 25 seconds. Chicago has killed 13 of the last 14. Jeff Blashill was telling us this morning his club takes way too many penalties, but at least they're killing. Here's Nugent Hopkins off a collision, sets up Draisaitl, one-timer score, and Edmonton takes a 1-0 lead. Leon Draisaitl rips home his 9th.
This one's going to stay on the board. Connor McDavid just absolutely became a running back to get this one into the zone. Little drop pass to Draisaitl. He gives it back to McDavid. He just bulldozes right into Nazar, gets the possession entry, drops it off before that collision. Pay the price to make the play into the zone. The Hawks have been really good at protecting that line, but then it's Nugent Hopkins. Get your feet moving, take the ice that's given to you. And he threads that right over to Draisaitl. He had to put that upstairs up over top of the glove of Spencer Knight. That's exactly what he did. Perfect release.
His 9th from McDavid and Nugent Hopkins, 54 seconds into the period on the power play. Nathan McKinnon and Cole Caulfield, the only men with more goals than Leon Draisaitl right now in the National Hockey League. They each have 10. 1-0 Edmonton, and that's a big goal for the Oilers. They had given up the first goal in 8 of their last 9 games. Chicago, conversely, had got the first goal in 8 of 11. That's Edmonton on top. Emerson has it cut off.
And I agree with you. When you're chasing the game all the time, that's when some bad habits start to creep in as well, Jack.
Savoy, Kulak, forced free. Emerson up the left-hand side and cleared successfully by Adam Henry. Grabbed in the corner. Brought up ice by Burakovsky. Back to 5-on-5. Gaining the line is Wyatt Kaiser. Shrugs off a check. Ballman goes out, and it's given to Bertuzzi. He'll use the screen to whip it around the boards. Collected by Levchinov. And back down low for Bertuzzi. Levchinov. Across. Grizzly. Teravainen a shot. Doesn't make its way through. Wallman knocked it down, and Howard was able to muscle it out. Chicago's got to tag back up. Wallman with Bertuzzi bearing down on him. One-time teammates in Detroit up to Darnell Nurse. And he'll send one off the plexi. I think that climbed up and out of play. Bring the face-off back to center as we get another look at the power play goal sent up by that man.
Go backward 15.
Send one off the plexi. I think that climbed up and out of play. Bring the face-off back to center as we get another look at the power play goal sent up by that man.
Well, here's the ISO Connor McDavid on the fly, and Nazar does a great job to get into his way, but he just pile drives right through him, drops it off right before he collides. Nugent Hopkins takes the middle, and then Leon Draicidl just waiting for that pass to come across. He had it locked and loaded. Buried that one short side up over top of the glove of Spencer Knight, who got there. Just couldn't quite get a piece of that puck.
Controlled by Rinzel off the draw. Now Bedard. Looks up ice. Bedard moves it left-hand side for McKay. First overall pick in 2023. Taken away by Draicidl. Nearly coughed up, but Ekholm was there with support to send it out to center ice. Tossed back in by Rinzel. Ekholm hard rim to Podkolzin on to Bouchard, and now Draicidl will hit the line onside. Well defended by Vlasic, who forced it back to center. Curled one over to Podkolzin. Bouchard will snap it around the boards. Spencer Knight to knock it down. Mikheyev off the boards. Nearly turned it over. But Rinzel was there to take it away from Draisaitl. He'll jump up in the play with a shot off the rush, blocked by Ekholm. Connor Bedard, one-timer on net, a save made by Stuart Skinner. Around the board, swatted away from Bedard. Kaiser across to Donato, wrist shot up high, and that's caught and held eventually by Skinner.
Couple good saves by Stuart Skinner, one on Colton Dock, and that one there on Ryan Donato. Both guys can really shoot it. Leon Draicidl continues his excellent play against the Chicago Blackhawks. 19-game point streak now against the Hawks. You look at it, 15 goals, 36 points, 7 power play goals. He just got one there to make it 1-0 for Edmonton. But, yeah, I don't think they like seeing him too much.
And those 15 goals have actually come in the last 17 games. He has scored in 13 of the last 17 games they've played. And big reason why Edmonton, as we talked about, has dominated this series. Nurse took a hit to make the play. McDavid tried to center. That was Slaggert coming together with Mangiapane. A drive by Nurse was blocked.
Boy, did Kaiser ever have to get on his horse to cut off McDavid there, Jack. I mean, he took the gamble and it paid off. Would have been a clear-cut 2-on-1.
Nurse to Mangiapane. Nurse has it deflected away by Crevier. McDavid checked by Nick Foligno. It was really the one holdover, like in terms of a veteran warhorse. Patrick Maroon and Alec Martinez retired after last season. And captain for the Hawks, Nick Foligno, as respected as any guy in the league. The raucous applause inside Rogers Place. One out in the ninth, meaning 2 outs away from a World Series championship. 4-3. Frederick battles his way in deep. Wyatt Kaiser. Well, I always wanted to channel my inner Vin Scully. Let's see how I do on the baseball side of things.
Right in your wheelhouse.
4 players scrum in the corner. 1-0 Edmonton. Power play goal, Leon Draicidl. Savoy dishes. One-timer Frederick and a save. Spencer Knight, he's got it in his clutches. With 14:47 to go in the second, a bit of a scrum develops in front.
This line's been really good for Edmonton. Just getting into the offensive zone. Kaiser takes the gamble. He's able to close on McDavid quick enough to not allow that pass to get through to the middle. It was a clear chance happening. Here's the dogged work by this line to recover the puck once again. And Trent Frederick with a great one-timer right in the wheelhouse between the hash marks. Good save by Spencer Knight. Little frustration there on Trent Frederick's reaction afterwards, but that's a great shift. That line's had some jam tonight and has created.
Draicidl beaten off the draw by Frank Nazar. Tara Violence spun it inside the Oiler blue line. Retrieved by Matthias Ekholm. To Draicidl. Knocked off his stick at the blue line and forced back into the Edmonton zone. Nazar tried to return it to the point. Roslovic, a brief giveaway, but he's able to collect himself and the puck.
It's that quick regroup of the Hawks. They're getting back very aggressively. Have to be precise with your outlet passes.
Draicidl moved in. Could not thread it through traffic. Bertuzzi may be guilty of an icing call here. There's the whistle with 6 minutes gone here in period 2.
Stay ahead of live betting options and bet on any goal, save, or power play with BetMGM.
Well, the bakers are ready to stir it up and roll it out on the Great Canadian Baking Show. New episodes Sundays. Watch free on CBC Gem. After the icing call, Oilers an ozone draw, leading 1-0. McDavid won the faceoff, shot by Nurse, and heavy traffic in front of Spencer Knight. McDavid set a screen, and as you mentioned, the 6'4" Connor Murphy also creating a wall in front.
Chicago's done a good job of boxing out, and Edmonton just has to get a little more aggressive. McDavid just slips inside and stays there, goes right to the net. This is a much more difficult save for Spencer Knight as it goes right through. You mentioned Connor Murphy and Connor McDavid getting himself to a good spot in front.
We're tied with 1 out in the ninth. The Dodgers just homered. 4-all, 9th inning in Toronto. And a collective hush through the sellout crowd here at Rogers Place. Ilya Mikheyev fell down as he hit the line. Jake Woolman sends it up the left-hand boards. McDavid kicked it out. Nugent Hopkins a little behind Darnell Nurse. He'll retrieve under heavy pressure from Donato. Spins away. Mikheyev. Nurse jousting. Chance for Rinzel to move it. He did. Mikheyev to Donato. And it's funneled back inside the Edmonton blue line. Another deep drive to the wall, caught on the warning track. 2 outs in the ninth. Here's McDavid. In over the line. Kicked it back to Emberson. Under pressure from Colton Dock. Hacked by Grzelcyk up to Nick Foligno. Shanov hits it indeed. Doc was tripped up. That's a penalty on Noah Philp. And that'll be called in Chicago to the power play for the first time tonight. Leon Draicidl having given Edmonton a 1-0 lead with a power play goal. Chicago will try to answer on Hockey Night in Canada.
You better.
Noah Philp's been called for tripping here. Aggressively pursuing the puck in the defensive zone around the net. You're going to see right here, Colton Dock just spins at that same second that Philp's going for the puck, takes the skate first, does get the puck afterwards, had a conversation with the official afterwards, but tripping the call. First power play for the Hawks.
Chicago power play, just 16% thus far, including 2 for their last 17. It's interesting, head-to-head, Louis, these two teams have accounted for a ton of power play goals. Combined now, they have scored 20 in their last 10 meetings. Edmonton 11, Chicago 9. Oiler penalty killers check in at 83%, just outside the top 10 in the league. Nazar defended by Henrique and Ekholm on that side. Bertuzzi spins away for Connor Bedard. Swung it out, Rinzel. Give it back to him. Burakovsky has shot Rinzel. That was blocked by Ekholm, cleared by Adam Henrique. Savoy and Bouchard will change along with Ekholm now. Henrique late coming off. Mangiapane, Nugent Hopkins, Wallman, and Nurse. The Oiler penalty killers as Nazar breaks through. Burakovsky sandwiched by Wallman. Tossed around to Connor Bedard. Chicago's leading scorer coming in. 6 goals, 14 points. In front, score! And Chicago has tied the game as Bertuzzi won a battle with Wallman for the equalizer.
And that's a hard pass by Connor Bedard. I mean, he just looks up and buys some time as he stops on the half wall, separates a little bit, and then he looks in front. And Bertuzzi's always had a nose around the net. He gets right in here. You're going to see a little shuffle here by Bedard, buys some time. Bertuzzi's already set up. And for him, he kind of comes in behind. You look at Wallman, he's in front of him, but that passing lane is open. It goes right off the stick. Literally ricochets off the skate, backhand into the net, 1-1 game.
And Bertuzzi doing what a certain injured winger usually does for Edmonton, stationing himself on that far post and basically using himself like a pinball machine. Zach Hyman is the man to whom I'm referring. Expected back in the Oiler lineup soon.
Always an option in front of the net.
Off the skate, flipped in off the stick, and Tyler Bertuzzi with his 3rd of the year set up by Connor Bedard. And once again, that pattern continues. Louis with the 2 goals tonight scored on the power play, 1 for each side. Classic ran Emberson into the boards. Game tied at 1 as we approach the midway point of the contest. Jays are batting bottom of the 9th with the game tied at 4, Game 7 of the World Series. Here's Draicidl. Whacked away. Good defensive play by Louis Crevier. And Louis, that's again where that 6'8" frame comes in handy.
They've been very good using their sticks, and that's how you have to play against Draicidl and McDavid when they have the puck on their stick. And you're right. Crevier is 6'8", Classic 6'6". Get positioning, use that stick to your advantage, and they've done it very well.
Classic tried to hit Bertuzzi, picked off by McDavid. Cleared the center. Roslovic late getting there. Levshinov up the left-hand side. Teravainen sent in front by Nazar, looking for Tyler Bertuzzi. He's got it. Feeds Levshinov. A shot went off a skate. Kicked out and held on to by Wyatt Kaiser. Levshinov could not get it on net. McDavid knocked it down. Stolen away by Tyler Bertuzzi. Wide open Nazar. That puck took a hop on him. He threw it on net. A kick save made by Stuart Skinner. It's 4-0 lifetime against Chicago. Burakovsky. Kaiser looking inside. Fires, save Skinner. Rebound Teravainen. Nearly let it escape the zone. Held on. Levshinov. Centering pass blasted on net by Nazar, and another save by Skinner. Like Isaac Howard, boy, Nazar doesn't need much time to get a shot away.
Oh, and he likes to shoot it. Was their best player last year down the stretch for the Hawks. Why he signed the long extension that he did. And that contract's going to be a bargain in a few years.
McDavid had a steal there, just missed Howard. Now Chicago the other way, waiting and shooting. And a glove save made. Stuart Skinner on Connor Bedard. Staring him down. 9:06 to play in the second. A power play goal for each club. Tyler Bertuzzi right in your living room.
Selected.
On Hockey Night in Canada.
Extremely well with it. At times they have. They're going to keep their feet moving, be a little sharper with their outlet passes tape to tape.
Rinzel up top for Chicago. Grzelcyk. Forced down low. Played back out to Rinzel by Ryan Green. Grzelcyk with a beautiful keep. Burakovsky. Grzelcyk. Rinzel shot. Kick save made. Stuart Skinner. That was ticketed for the far post. Frederick. Philp overran the play, and now on the counter, Burakovsky. Drop pass for Connor Bedard. Nurse had the stick on stick. Burakovsky tried to stuff it to the interior, then plowed his way back into Philp. Muscled him off the puck. Shot Bedard. Save and a rebound available. Cleared to Adam Henrique. But there's that pressure you're talking about, Louis. Is Chicago starting to force Edmonton into one turnover after another?
It's been the neutral zone for me. It's been a little bit disastrous, and that was backtracking by Bedard. We saw Bertuzzi on the last sequence that hemmed in Edmonton, come back on Bouchard skating the puck up the ice. And they're going right back with speed into the offensive zone and keeping Edmonton on their heels. That's been 3 shifts in a row they've hemmed them in.
Slaggert erased by Nurse. Mangiapane off a flip from Nugent Hopkins. McDavid wide open as Emerson. To Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and now Brett Kulak. McDavid shooting into a crowd. A save made by Knight. I believe Mangiapane got a tip. Foligno.
By design. McDavid saw him there and just floated a little wrister in there looking for that deflection.
Shot in by Crevier. Fiercely fought along the end boards. Foligno trying to hang on to it down there. Doc could not. And now Kulak looking for a streaking McDavid, but an active stick from Wyatt Kaiser broke up a potential partial break.
Had a strong game. Great skater. Kaiser. He's broken up some plays because he's in the right position.
Well, we've talked about the size of the Chicago back end, Louis, but they are mobile. Teravainen walking in. One-timer Murphy broke his stick. Kind of a change-up. Bouchard and Draicidl down low defending against Ryan Donato. Put Colson against Mikheyev. Waved that back to Kaiser. Mikheyev can't get around Draicidl. Teravainen. Better than a point per game historically against Edmonton. Flicked it off the pads of Skinner. Guides it up the right-hand side, and now you've got Roslovic. Levshunov comes over. Draisaitl did well to hold the zone. Clubbed high and wide by Ekholm. Roslovic on the rebound. Bouchard eventually held it in for Ekholm. Now Bouchard looks for a lane and had it chopped away by Teravainen. Matthias Ekholm for the Oilers. Slams it in from center. That might hit the official. Peter McDougall, I think that might have caught a piece of him. Sent around the boards by Lazar. Grzelcyk powered against the glass by Lazar. Dug out by Wallman. Out to the point. Shot from distance. Howard saw it kicked away by Spencer Knight. And here comes Levshunov with a high floater grabbed by Nazar. Attacking Darnell Nurse, forced against the boards. Trying to battle free. Doc can't do it. 2 men on, 1 out. Bottom of the ninth for the Toronto Blue Jays. Tied at 4 in Game 7. This is an icing call against Edmonton.
Pace is picked up here in the second period. Both these teams skating, but this is what
tied at 4 in Game 7. This is an icing call against Edmonton.
Pace is picked up here in the second period. Both these teams skating, but this is what I'm talking about. You're going to see this little carom, and it's the effort by Bedard in the neutral zone to turn it over and then go on to the offensive. As he stops up, eventually he's going to have a great look as the puck went to the net and trying to drive it through once and twice, taken out by Wallman right there on the doorstep. But good defense leads to offense, and I know for Jeff Blashill this morning, talking with you and I, he said that's something that his team has bought in and believes. They know they have to work hard. They're a young team. When they get on their horses, they're a handful.
So Bedard on the face-off against Phil. Won it cleanly. Burakovsky. Vlasic. Checked by Lazar. Shoveled back down low. Bedard in front. And a one-timer sent wide. What a good look for Rinzel. Could not finish. Here's Burakovsky. Down low for Green. Last Rinzel wide. Live hop off the end boards. Vlasic will leave it for Bedard. Up top, Rinzel. Bedard loading up, shooting off the glove of Skinner. Rebound, Vlasic. Bedard. Into the corner. Wrap-up situation. Pin there, Burakovsky. That's good work down low by Curtis Lazar.
Perfect weight on that chip out by Nurse, too. The Hawks have Edmonton on their heels in the defensive zone. They are buzzing.
Bedard spills it in. Skinner knocked it down for Ekholm. Now McDavid skates away from Colton Dock, whose older brother Kirby was drafted 3rd overall by the Hawks in 2019. Injury-plagued career. He's now in Montreal. Crevier plowing through traffic, maintaining his Fred.
Little load up here for Chris Knobloch, trying to get the momentum back in his favor.
McDavid's drawn a penalty right on cue as Colton Dog trips him up. He got McDavid and Draicidl out there with Trent Frederick, and the net result is an Oiler power play.
Good job by Frederick to get in hard on this forecheck and bobble that puck. And then McDavid with the spin move draws the call right here on Doc as he gets taken down.
My head may explode before that happens, but we'll try our best. Draicidl between Nugent Hopkins and Roslovic. McDavid and Bouchard rounding out the power play. It's Bouchard walking the line. Nugent Hopkins to McDavid, charging toward the net, short side, a save made by Knight, and he's got it. Oiler power play, 1-for-1. So are the Hawks, for that matter. That's how we've arrived at this tie score after a scoreless first.
Good drive to the net here out of the corner by McDavid. If they're going to stand in the middle of the ice and wait to defend passes, he just gets his feet moving, drives this right into Spencer Knight. Good save.
Draicidl won the draw, back to Evan Bouchard. Nugent Hopkins crossing. Draicidl feathers to McDavid, broken up on the half wall and just shoveled out of there by Nazar. It's a smart play.
Yeah, Vlasic too with that long reach again, just a little bobble.
Kick back to Nugent Hopkins by Bouchard. McDavid. Bouchard. McDavid. Nugent Hopkins. Gliding. Centering. Bouchard. McDavid a shot. A save made by Spencer Knight. Minute 10 on the power play. Here's McDavid. In front. That was tipped. High in the air. Bouchard. Peering inside. McDavid. In front. Tipped home. Jack Roslovic. 2-1 Edmonton.
Puck movement, body movement, recoveries. Set this up in motion. And it's the movement to the middle by Bouchard and the little stop up. That gets the formation to stop quickly, and it's right out to McDavid. And then he drives down, finds the pass to Roslovic. Watch Bouchard here. Get your feet moving. Don't stand still. That gets everybody back to the middle. That opens up the lane for McDavid to drive down, and he makes a perfect pass back door. Jack Roslovic with his play gets himself some time on the #1 power play unit, and it pays off with a big power play goal, and Jane is happy about that. She recognized you the other day, Jack. Had a good conversation. Mom's in the house. Always pumped to see her son score.
And always a thrill for a son to score in front of one of his parents. So there you go. Jack Roslovic, his second from McDavid on the power play. In the meantime, a 1-2 count. Levchinov whipped it across. Oilers 12 power play goals now in their last 10 against Chicago. Levchinov under duress. Mangiapane rides him into the boards. Henry creates a drive back behind. The Blue Jays have just won the World Series. Or no, they're calling him out at home. Forced out. 2 out. 9th inning. 18,000 were wrong, Louis, and they're going to review this call. In the meantime, the Hawks send it in. Chipped up the left-hand side. We've got a video review in the bottom of the 9th of Game 7 of the World Series. In the meantime, diving is Slaggert in front. And a shot never got through from Donato.
I mean, the block thickens.
Donato and Frederick grappling for possession. McDavid snags to the middle. Shooting and a save. Knight rebound came back in front, and Knight able to make the save. Frederick on the puck. Ekholm winds and fires, and that pinballed off the end boards all the way out. Carried up to center. Shot in by Donato. Skinner to knock it down. This play at the plate, Louis, is very close. Ekholm in the meantime. Angles up. McDavid against Crevier. Bertuzzi, soft toss. And Kulak able to take over for the Oilers, who lead this game 2-1. Looking for their 9th victory in 10 games against the Chicago Blackhawks. Draicidl on to Emerson. Moving in is Lazar. Bertuzzi took the puck from him but didn't get it out. Roslovic loading, shooting, and that was blocked. Rebound. Draicidl a swing and then shot wide. Great catch at the warning track. Out at the plate for 2 out, and then a drive to the warning track, and we go to extra innings in Game 7 of the World Series, tied at 4. We're on to the 10th. In the meantime, the second period is over. It's 2-1 Edmonton. Louis, everything's happening.
Yeah, couldn't be a better night for sports right now, and the anxiousness continues as it goes into extra innings in the World Series, and here's some good work down low once again by Edmonton. Just get on the horse. It was Emerson initially gets his feet moving. Edmonton started to skate, and that's been a difference in this third period. They're starting to push back hard, and that one did not miss by much. Almost made it 3-1.
2-1 Oilers after 40. Ron, Kevin, Kelly, Elliott, the panel on the other side. Time to regroup for all of us on Hockey Night in Canada.
Slice 50-50. Louis and Jack, that may have been the most tense intermission in the history of regular season hockey in Edmonton. All fans riveted here to the score clock as they had Sportsnet showing. And, well, after a bases-loaded opportunity went by the wayside for the Jays in the 9th, turnabout is fair play. It happened to the Dodgers in the top of 10. We're in the bottom of 10 with the World Series on the line.
1 out, nobody on for the Jays. I was hoping someone would wrap it up, Gene, in the intermission, because as a 2-sport simultaneous announcer, I should probably stick to my day job. Nugent Hopkins against Nazar as we begin the third period. The Oilers have let a couple of third period leads get away this season, including on Thursday when a 3-1 advantage evaporated against the New York Rangers.
Go backward 15 seconds.
Including on Thursday when a 3-1 advantage evaporated against the New York Rangers.
This one just a little bit too far for Matt Combs. He tried to lob this one up over top of everyone, get on the forecheck, but this goes for icing. Face-off will come to the left of Stuart Skinner. But I agree. I thought Edmonton started to move their feet more in the second period, started to get into the offensive zone. The power play goal really sparked them, gave them some energy.
McDavid off the draw, sees it chipped across. He's had assists on both Oiler power play goals tonight, giving him 1,098 points for his career. That's one shy of former Oiler Glenn Anderson, who's sitting at 1,099. 69th place in NHL history. McDavid and Nugent Hopkins coughed it up at the Chicago line. Then Bertuzzi and Bedard ran into one another. I think Bedard might be guilty of a stick infraction here.
Yeah, there's a penalty happening here.
And when your club is 0 for 2 and Nugent Hopkins coughed it up at the Chicago line, then Bertuzzi and Bedard ran into one another. I think Bedard might be guilty of a stick infraction here.
Yeah, there's a penalty happening here.
And when your club is 0 for 2 on the penalty kill, not what you want to have, a penalty 100 feet from your net.
Well, the puck changed possession a couple of times, and it went around in a circle in the neutral zone, and it's when you start reaching with the stick a little bit, and here you'll see Bedard just kind of can opener on Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Doesn't allow him to get the stick down, and tried to pull it away quickly, but got nabbed. Third power play for Edmonton, 2 for 2 in the second period.
Draicidl, McDavid checking to make sure their signals aren't crossed. Roslovic in the slot, and Draicidl wins the face-off. Kick back to Bouchard by McDavid. Nugent Hopkins down low. McDavid across to Roslovic, deflected away and cleared by Ryan Green. Bouchard under control for Edmonton. 2 outs, bottom of the 10th. Jays nobody on against the Dodgers. Game 7 World Series. Here's Draicidl walking into the offensive zone. Bouchard on the power play, minute 30. Bouchard returns to Nugent-Hopkins. Across, a double deflection, hopped over Draicidl's stick. Soft chip to McDavid, return to Draicidl up top. Makes one move, dishes off, showing one-timer, but not pulling the trigger is Evan Bouchard, and it's a shorthanded breakaway. Mikheyev in on Skinner. Denied! Stuart Skinner, a massive stop. And that's important for Evan Bouchard, among others, who's had trouble with the turnovers. Shorthanded breakaway. Mikheyev, we told you, he's a threat. Shorthanded. Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid into the feet of Draicidl. Tough pass. Came back to McDavid. Dangling against Crevier and whistled up the right-hand side and out by Frank Nazar.
It's the pressure of the penalty kill of the Hawks. They've been really good, especially pressuring high in the zone. And you get a step with the speed Mikheyev has, you're not going to catch him there. Bouchard tried to hang on to it, tried to weather the storm, but it was just relentless pressure on the puck. He eventually turned it over, and he was gone. Good save, Skinner.
Teravainen, pressure up top on Wollman. Across to Isaac Howard, second unit on for Edmonton. Savoy in the slot. Here's a shot that hit Adam Henrique in front of the Chicago net. Back to Jake Wollman. With Ekholm up top on this second unit. Shot by Howard. That deflects into the corner, and Chicago has killed it off for the first time tonight. Savoy almost drew another penalty, and then a quick shot taken by Howard, eaten up by Spencer Knight.
Couple good chances for the second unit getting the puck to the net. Mark Stewart having a conversation with Bouchard here. Here's the quick pressure, and first it's Crevier with that long reach that disrupts, and then the reaction of Mikheyev to get over there as the second man quick is what steals this puck. He just stays strong on it, tries to bring it from backhand to forehand. Maybe doesn't quite elevate the way he wants. He looks immediately at the stick after. Missed a few games, maybe not as sharp as he'd like to be, and Bouchard gets bailed out by his goaltender. Good save by Stuart Skinner.
We head to the top of the 11th. Blue Jays side retired. Meanwhile, Podkolzin off the draw, battling Bedard. Down low, up the right-hand side, Grizzly. Burakovsky.
A little battle there between Podkolzin and Bedard. They went at it a little bit.
Ty Anderson. This will be icing against Edmonton. 2-1 Oilers, early third period. Meanwhile, Scotiabank Wednesday night hockey, the Utah Mammoth. Off to a very strong start this season. Edmonton cooled them off a little bit. The Leafs are next for the Mammoth. Scotiabank Wednesday night hockey. Coverage getting underway 6:30 Eastern, 4:30 Mountain on Sportsnet. That was a tale of two hockey games the other night when Utah arrived in town, Louis, dominating the first period, and then Edmonton with a fierce pushback over the next 40 minutes, eventually winning 6-3.
Well, they had to. They had to elevate and try and match the speed, the pace, the skill that Utah was playing with, and they did. Wild game.
Levchinov down low, back behind. Kulak, a wraps situation against Green out in front. Save, rebound, score. Burakovsky perched in front, and Chicago has tied the game.
Good stop by Skinner on the first one. Again, it's the work down low behind the net to get this puck out to the slot for the one-timer. And then Burakovsky planted in front, similar to Bertuzzi on the power play. You're going to see him eventually work to the net. Green with some excellent work on this forecheck. He digs it loose. Out to the slot for the one-timer. Levchinov is the one that shoots this puck. And then right there in the doorstep, inside positioning by Burakovsky. Left alone for that split second. That's all it takes. One split second, the rebound's in the back of the net. It's a 2-2 game.
And we get a good look there why Jeff Blashill is high on this rookie Ryan Green. Second rounder of the Hawks in 22. They've got higher touted picks in their lineup tonight, but Ryan Green with a heck of a play. Levchinov picks up another NHL assist. That's 11 for him in 29 games. 2 out, nobody on for the Dodgers. Meanwhile, top 11. Wyatt Kaiser dumps it in. Settled by Skinner. Hard rim by Jake Wollman up the center for Mangiapane. Gives way to McDavid. Around Vlasic and unable to tuck it inside the far post. Nazar on the puck for Chicago. Turned over and then ends up in the glove of Spencer Knight, who puts it to rest with a game tied at 2. 4 minutes gone by in the third.
McDavid taking on the big man here, Vlasic. Nice little bump back here by Mangiapane to put him in full speed and lifts up the arm one-handedly, brings that to the net. So Vlasic did enough to force him to take one of his hands off the stick. And we've seen that matchup a few times in this game, quite a bit actually. Vlasic, Crevier, the two big guys in the back end, young defenders with that long reach, going up against McDavid, just trying to keep him to the outside.
These two teams have each played 6 one-goal games. And once again, Chicago resetting. Home run for the Dodgers. So LA has taken a lead in the top of the 11th inning. 5-4. Game 7 World Series. 2-2 here. Alex Vlasic, first even strength goal of the game, belongs to the Hawks. And it's the equalizer by Burakovsky, who scored a between the wickets, under the bar, roof daddy goal against Winnipeg on Thursday night, albeit in a defeat. Vlasic. Donato kicks it back for Louis Crevier. Then an outlet looking for Colton Dock, but Colson would not let the Hawks escape their own end. And he'll pound it down low for Leon Draicidl. Knocked off the stick back to center. Wallman up the gut, but Colson through a seam. Had it knocked away. Roslovic to Draicidl, one-timer. And but Colson had it stopped by Spencer Knight, who then scoops up the ensuing puck thrown in front.
Working hard to create those chances. Little reversal here. Usually it's Draicidl in that spot. 92-29 go to work here. Roslovic with a nice little bump, recognizing on the backhand side that Draisaitl's late. And the one-timer by Pod Colson as he gets this one away. Look at that. Spencer Knight gets that left pad down, gets into position right in the nick of time.
Draisaitl beaten off the draw by Nick Foligno. Now in his 19th year. Wristed down deep by Colton Dock. Wallman lets it go through and out to neutral. Draisaitl ended poke checked off his stick. Roslovic around Dock. He'll gain center. And now the Chicago blue line. Fished out of Colson's skates. Draisaitl briefly tried to hold on to it. Slaggered ahead, looking to create a 2-on-1 instead with a giveaway. Draisaitl back to Wallman, and Edmonton will change. Bedard lurking, pestering Wallman, who escapes, then gives it away. Burakovsky the steal, and Bedard wisely flips it down low. Burakovsky unable to seal the end boards. McDavid threw it around to Bouchard. Back to Ekholm and wedged out safely for Nugent Hopkins. Couple of times over the line eventually. Spinning is Mangiapane. Bouchard mishandled. And the Hawks are coming the other way. Bedard on the puck at center. Drop pass. Shot coming and a save on Green by Stuart Skinner. Bedard reaching, can't get there. Here's McDavid hustling it out to center ice. Now Green trying to protect. McDavid overpowered him, but ran into Connor Murphy.
Get over.
Grizzly at center ice. We go to the bottom of the 11th, and now the Dodgers are 3 outs away from winning back-to-back World Series. Big hit in the corner on Kaiser. Got it away, Frank Nazar. Pulled up, cross-seamer. That was picked off by...
May 31st, 2025 was on a Saturday.
What day is May 31st, 2012?
May 31st, 2012 was on a Thursday.
Through the first month, long way to go. Here's Frank Nazar. Teravainen winds it around. Bertuzzi. And lost the handle. I am impressed, Louis. I mean, Jason Dickinson is a guy we've seen against Connor McDavid virtually the entirety of his career. And without him tonight, Chicago's still hanging in there, especially 5-on-5.
Yeah, they defended well. It's the skating. This team skates. And it's a 5-man unit up and down the ice. They use that speed to close on the attacker and the puck carrier. They don't mess around. And we talked about the range and the reach of the defensemen and the skating ability they have not made it easy on Edmonton. You get the puck on your stick, you're getting challenged immediately.
Frederick muscles it in successfully. Grislick out into the slot, guided by Mikheyev to Ryan Donato. He'll shoot it around the plexus. Nurse got a second whack at it. Up to Savoy. Henry couldn't find it, went flying, and now you've got Donato the other way with a quick shot, this time blocker. Foligno beaten to the puck by Savoy, and Henry the smart play to clear it to center. Coming up on 11 minutes left in regulation, the game is tied at 2. Draicidl and Roslovic for Edmonton, both goals assisted by McDavid and both coming on the power play. Chicago has answered Bertuzzi, and here in the third, Burkowski. Now Foligno. Forced it free for Doc. Calling for that puck is Kaiser. He's got it. A shot tipped by Slager. Loose. Rebound. Pulled Doc. Could not finish. I think Draicidl might have saved a goal.
He did. Good recognition. He collapsed down as quickly as possible, and he was in there just enough to prevent a clean shot.
Doc down the right-hand side. Louis, you had a good look at it for a moment. That net was wide open, wasn't it?
Yep.
Foligno against Nurse. Wrapped up Roslovic. Pass a little behind Draicidl, but Roslovic jumps up on the play. Got around Ritzel to the net. And stopped by Spencer Knight. Roslovic has that change of pace that could lead to glorious opportunities.
Good save at both ends. Here's a little wrister by Kaiser through the traffic. This rebound's right there for the taking. And actually, it's Nurse that gets his stick in there. Draicidl gets back just in the nick of time as well. Breaks it up.
Get a 9 to 5, they said. Start a family, they said. Settle down, they said. And always have a backup plan, they said.
But what do they know?
The Hyundai Tucson Hybrid.
Lucas wanted a hotel with an ocean view. Then he found a vacation rental with an ocean-front yard. Easily find your stay. Expedia. Book now.
I'm Howie Mandel, the newest ambassador of Skechers. Funny story how I became an ambassador. I went to the store and I lied and said I was an ambassador. Do I get a discount? The owner called me and said, would you like to be an ambassador for Skechers? And I said, yes. Try Skechers slip-ins.
Check out the big stars, big series, and blockbuster movies. Streaming on Paramount Plus. Like Tulsa King, The Substance, and The Naked Gun. Now that's a mountain of entertainment.
Well, he's already got one goal so far tonight. Jack Roslovic this close to his first 2-goal game as an Edmonton Oiler. We certainly will discuss this and more alongside his head coach, Chris Knobloch, as they will be our guests for After Hours. As we say hi to Scott Oak, he's back in Winnipeg, and we look forward to Scott being back next week for his highly popular post-game show.
There's his mom, his fiance.
Yeah, Jenner.
See that tape job on the bench? That was a quick one for Roslovic, too. In the commercial timeout, ripped the old tape off. He's around it. When you're chopping up the tape on your blade that much, you know you're in it. Mine would last about 5 or 6 games.
Tossed it into the opposite corner. I'm still thinking how Gene Principe managed to say we're looking forward to having Scott Oak back next Saturday with a straight face. Here's McDavid getting it in deep. Oh, Scott's going to be in Vancouver. Gene will be here. Okay, so Gene gets the opportunity. But Gene was very quick. Did you notice? Well, Scott, you better take care of yourself. I'd get on the plane and get home and get rested if I were you.
Okie says he's feeling a little bit better. He's going to be fine.
He said he was good. It's just the voice was lacking.
Yeah.
Hawks force a turnover. Here's a backhander flung wide by Tyler Bertuzzi. And now Nazar on the puck. Schedule tightens up for Edmonton. Next week, St. Louis and Dallas on the road, Colorado at home. A centering pass and another save by Skinner as Nazar in the vicinity. Hawks still looking for that first lead. Shoveled in by Frederick, tracked by Kaiser. Here's Emberson with a shot that's partially blocked. Frederick unable to maintain the zone, and as it's cleared by Teravainen, I can tell you Blue Jays have first and third with one out in the bottom of the 11th, trailing by 1 run. Emberson hard up, looking for Frederick, closed out quickly by Grizzly, and now it's Rinzel. Brief stumble with the puck, he'll send it over to Grizzly. 8:20 on the game clock in this one. Donato, as we found out the other night for the 18-inning classic, there is no clock in the World Series. Rinzel to Grizzly, one-touch Mikheyev off to Ryan Donato, crisscross. Here's Connor Bedard heading for the net, loading up and could not get the shot away. Draicidl with a clean steal. Grizzly has him well defended. Roslovic thought he might have been high-sticked. No call was made. Puck winds up in the corner for Rinzel. Looks up ice, fires a dart that's too far for Donato. That's icing against Chicago. 2-2, 7:41 to go. Well, our Sportsnet Plus City TV Plus bundle gives you live sports and entertainment all in one place. There's something for everyone to stream with the best live sports and hit shows from the biggest networks in TV. Visit sportsnetplus.ca and bundle today. And unfortunately, the LA Dodgers just turned a double play and have won the World Series for a second year in a row, 5-4 in 11 innings. Blue Jays had the winning run thrown out at the plate in the 9th. And they come up shy. Here's Ekholm heading for the net. A backhander sifted wide. 2-2 in Edmonton. McDavid to Bouchard. One-timer Ekholm, and that blasted up high, kicked off the glass. Bouchard, did he hold the zone? He did. Sends it down low for Mangiapane. Shakes off Grizzly. Rinzel couldn't get it out. McDavid coughed it up to Mikheyev, then snatched it right back. Is it onside? Yes. Donato couldn't hold up McDavid. Mangiapane spins. Bouchard at the point. Down low, got it through Grizzly. McDavid let it go through. Mikheyev had a chance to get it out, did not. Rinzel, hard rim up the right-hand side, and that's knocked down by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Both teams want changes here.
Yeah, going to work. That was a long shift. Offensively for Edmonton in the zone, battling to get pucks back and defending by the Hawks. Everybody was spent after that one.
Noah Philp shovels it in. The Hawks get it out, and the Oilers are guilty of an offside as they tried to step back in. 6 1/2 to play. Burakovsky, the equalizer. 2-2 on Hockey Night.
Grizzlies, Raptors, Sunday on Sportsnet 1.
The major part of the game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Parts that make the difference. That's Napa know-how. And Leon Draicidl knows how to score even when one gets wiped off the score clock because it's just a little bit too late. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And he does succeed, as well as scoring the goal. Leon now has a 19-game point scoring streak going against Chicago.
Yeah, this season, he's got an 8-game streak going right now. 6 goals in those 8 games. We talked about tied for third in the league in goal scoring, but right now, Edmonton and Chicago in a 2-2 tie. Oilers have won a fair bit of close games, particularly at the United Center in Chicago over this recent stretch. So it's not like they've been blowouts time after time. They've often been tight. Roslovic will get it in deep. Connor Murphy to Wyatt Kaiser. Stood up. 5-foot Colson. Roslovic still in the mix. Draicidl hangs on. Over to Darnell Nurse. His shot drifts wide. Roslovic in front has it stolen away. Nurse's 2-goal game gave him 4 for his career, Louis. That's tied for second among Edmonton defensemen all time. Now, you probably know Paul Coffey is first. He had 39 multi-goal games. Nurse and Bouchard are among those tied for second with 4 up the left-hand side. And we've got, that's going to be an icing call, whistled against Edmonton with 5.5 to go, and the game tied at 2.
Incredible. Defensemen back in the history of the Oilers that have scored 20 goals. You look at Sheldon Surrey, you look at, back in the day, the amount of goals that Oiler team has scored, you'd think there'd be more, but Darnell Nurse has been activating as of late. Charlie Huddy scored 20 goals one year before he became the defensive specialist.
Well, he had to be playing with Paul.
There you go. Said, yeah, you score better than I do. I'll just stay back.
Grzelcyk a drive, and Stuart Skinner on his 27th birthday makes the save. That's his 24th of the night. We've got a 2-2 tie at Edmonton's Rogers Place.
Joins his dad Mike with 600 career points. He had that 600-point Tuesday versus the Ottawa Senators. Joins a distinguished group of father-son combinations, each with 600 or more points, to join that list. And just keeps on going. Had a great conversation with him this morning. Missed some time. His daughter was ill. She's better now. Got to trick or treat last night. He said it was a special night. He wishes he was there, but that's the NHL for you. You're on the road, you grind. And his wife Janelle, I'll thank her for being kind to my son in Boston. She brought him food when he was injured and banged up. But that's the leadership quality that the Hawks saw in Nick Foligno and why they brought him on board with this young team.
Jumping up is Emberson. A shot by Frederick does not make its way through. He had a heck of a Halloween costume swap with Philadelphia Eagles head football coach Nick Sirianni. I couldn't tell who was who. They dressed like one another, and I wasn't sure it was just them. Levchinov. Back home to Bouchard. Foligno twists it around the boards. Mikheyev gets it back. Angled off the boards, ripped by Vlasic, saves Skinner, rebound available for a moment, and then snared by McDavid. He'll lead a 3-on-3. McDavid centers, and just pushing one wide was Mangiapane. What a feed from McDavid. Vlasic up to Mikheyev. He'll gain the line with Foligno wandering down low. 4 minutes to play. Drive Vlasic, and a kick save made by Skinner. Rebounded. Mikheyev unable to center, but Ekholm lost his stick. So now you've got Rinzel walking the line and shooting. That was partially deflected. Chopped to the corner by Bouchard, and Mangiapane leaves it for McDavid to skate it out. Wallman quickly jumped back off to avoid the too many men. Both teams wholesale changes in personnel with 3:40 left in regulation. Vlasic scampers to center. Bertuzzi tried to center. Draicidl did not get it out. Teravainen. But Colson overpowered him. Nurse, second effort, got it through Bertuzzi. But then Teravainen set it for Rinzel. His shot blocked by a desperate but Colson. Sold out for that one. Draicidl hit the red line. No, they're not giving it to him. But icing is also waved off. Here's Kaiser. Off balance, Rinzel. Soccered in by Teravainen. Settled and cleared immediately by Wallman. Shot back in by Teravainen. Line change Chicago. Draicidl will come off for Edmonton.
Don't tell these Chicago defensemen they're young. They're really playing on their toes. Confident on the offensive line. Rinzel a couple of times walked the line, found the shot through. Kaiser's had a strong game as well.
Henry works his way through Grzelcyk. Savoy tried to center. Fierce battle for the puck. Frederick couldn't get it on net. Blashill talked about his team losing a couple tight ones in the third. and they find a way to finish this one off. A game they have not led. It's 2-2. 2 points still up for grabs with 2:20 to play. Here's Burakovsky challenging Kulak out to the point. Vlasic looking for room. None to be found. Savoy with a good defensive play. McDavid will play it back to Ty Emerson and now take the puck himself as we go inside 2 minutes. McDavid attacking. Pulls up. Bouchard. Shot! And that was tipped just wide. Nugent Hopkins went right to the front of the net. Mikheyev gets it back from Donato. Left wing Foligno. Fed along Donato. Shoveled back behind. Ekholm able to protect against Mikheyev. Foligno trying to close out. Nugent Hopkins pinned on the wall, made a good play, and it's cleared safely. Mangiapane off balance, hit by Renzel, but got it in deep. Kaiser with McDavid burrowing in. Nugent Hopkins couldn't keep it in, but Roslovic did. Kaiser stole it right back, and he'll skate it out. Kaiser to center, smart play, backhanding it in deep. Both teams have lost 4 of the 6 one-goal games in which they played. Here's Draicidl. Poked away by Vlasic. This is going to be an icing call against Chicago. Break for Edmonton. 56 seconds to go, Louis, and now it's possible for Chris Knobloch to get McDavid out there with Draicidl.
He is. Tappity-tap as soon as it was the icing. 56.7 seconds left, and this is a great pass by McDavid. You mentioned it. Shovels this one right through to Mangiapane. Tries to elevate far side, so just get it up over top of the blocker. Misses a little bit wide. Critical face-off here coming up with 56.7 seconds. Draicidl and McDavid have not played a lot together in this game. They've run their own lines.
And I know Mike Roslovic being the third guy out there. He's been around it again. Wallman and Nurse defensively. Clean face-off win for Draicidl. Nurse serves it down low for Roslovic. 50 seconds to go in a 2-2 tie. Roslovic surveying the interior. Nurse looking for a lane. Shoots, tipped, wide. Rebound, Draicidl. Around the boards to Nurse, then back down low for Draicidl. Came off his right boot to Roslovic. Ducked inside Nazar. Draicidl. Roslovic. Poked away by Nazar. Centering pass off a stick. And Teravainen takes a peek at the clock and then tried to hoist it out. It was batted down by Wallman. Came right back to Teravainen. Good feed. Nazar trying to dish off, and Draicidl a fine defensive play. Off the giveaway. Roslovic looking for McDavid. Spins off a check from Kaiser. Still loose and cleared by Teravainen. It's going to be icing, but we're looking at about a second. I think they'll put about 2/10 back on the clock. Otherwise, we're heading for overtime.
And a lot of time spent in the offensive zone with that 56 seconds left in the clock. Good defending by the Hawks, but buzzing around in the offensive zone. That last sequence, little spin move by McDavid. He had 3 Hawks that it converged on, just not to try and allow him to get that puck into the middle. And then eventually it's cleared down with 0.8 seconds left on the clock. Tight checking game.
Could be a second straight overtime game for Edmonton, unless you work the Tyler Toffoli here. Skinner on the bench, 6-on-5. Lazar will take the face-off against Nazar. Draicidl ready to power it toward the net, and then sliding out toward him to make sure he couldn't was Levshunov. That was brave, if nothing else.
Yeah, he got out there. Give him credit. He knew he had to get the body in front of that shot. It was the only chance they had with 0.8 seconds. But this one will go to extra. Hard-fought battle between these two teams. Burakovsky's the one that tied this game in the third period. For the Hawks to push this one to the extra.
This overtime brought to you by Subway. Try 6-inch classics, now available in centimeters. 5 measurably more Canadian classics for $5.99 each.
Well, we talked about the overtime games. 1 win for each club. Hawks are 1-1. The Oilers 1-2. Ryan Donato has the OT winner for Chicago.
Well, here it is here. This is the Hawks versus Anaheim. Nice pass by Bedard out to Ryan Donato. He buries that for the overtime. We saw this in Ottawa. Jake Wallman's first game of the season. The knuckler as he blasts an ear hole. Linus Ullmark celebrates afterwards.
So in the 3-on-3, typically you'd see McDavid, Draicidl, and Bouchard.
11-4, the Hawks outshot the Edmonton Oilers in that third period.
Well, after back-to-back 31st place finishes, Louis, there's no question this Chicago club gained valuable experience. They skate well. They're big on the back end, though inexperienced. And as you pointed out, they didn't shrink from the competition tonight.
Nope, they elevated. And that's what they've been doing all year long. Jeff Blashill's talked about it. They believe, they want to dig in, they want to get better.
So here we go. 3-on-3 overtime. Chicago counters with Bedard, Burakovsky, and Vlasic. And Draisaitl, once again, able to get a first possession for Edmonton. Bouchard out there with McDavid and Draisaitl, and it's Bouchard a pass to McDavid. 2-on-2 with Vlasic and Bedard back defensively. Draisaitl fakes to Bouchard, draws the double team, but his pass is knocked out of the zone. McDavid regrouping at center, and now he'll challenge. Burakovsky had a piece of that puck, and it's a reload for Edmonton. Draisaitl strides into the zone. McDavid picks up his speed, then cross ice to Draisaitl. No shot. McDavid weaving his way around Burakovsky. A backhander off the pads, and here comes Chicago. Burakovsky streaking in right-hand side. Draisaitl back defensively, cuts him off. Burakovsky fires it across Bedard, and shot saves Stuart Skinner, and he'll freeze it. Chicago will get an offensive zone draw. Opening minute gone by in OT.
Good end-to-end here and good defense again for the Hawks. They pump this puck down the ice. Burakovsky with a nice move to protect. Wait, gets this over to Bedard, and you know, anytime he has a chance to let that wicked wrister go, such a great release. Good save by Skinner.
So now you've got Nazar on the draw against Nugent Hopkins. Once again, the Oilers able to come up with it off the faceoff. Roslovic, Nugent Hopkins, Nurse, and then Green, Nazar, and Levchinov. Batted puck, nearly turned over, stolen, and a quick shot forced wide. Roslovic created the turnover, got it back to Nugent Hopkins. First appeared like Chicago might have a 2-on-1. But Roslovic, who's been strong on the stick tonight, showed up on his power play goal. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Darting in from the right-hand side. Serving it up, Roslovic. Back to Nugent Hopkins, trying to get it back. Broken up, but Nurse is able to regain possession. Roslovic wants a change. And he'll be replaced by Mangiapane. Podkolzin has come on. Nurse to Mangiapane. No shot. Cut off in the last minute by Levchinov. Here's Podkolzin. Hit the post on a penalty shot back in the first period, and now he'll take a skate back to neutral for a reset. Matthias Ekholm gliding and dishing. Mangiapane has an angle, cuts to the middle. Backhander, Ekholm shot it wide. He had an empty net. Mangiapane back to Podkolzin. Ekholm will be dreaming about that one. Podkolzin, hard charging. McDavid has come on. Ekholm waiting, dishing. McDavid
on the ice.
Absolutely. McDavid fell down to one knee, able to regain. He's got Draisaitl and Bouchard out with him. Draisaitl flashes around Donato. One-timer Bouchard. Sprawling save, rebound, score. Bouchard stayed with it, and Edmonton wins it 3-2 in overtime.
Bluejays lost. Oilers win.
group of Hawks on the ice, possession key in overtime. And that's what Edmonton does here. They wear down the Hawks, keep players on the ice. Artem Levshunov was out there for over a minute and a half, and you start to defend that length in overtime. Things happen. This is a great move and pass by Mangiapane. He finds Ekholm backdoor, just can't quite capitalize on that sharp angle, but it's the change on the fly. The top guys get on the ice for Edmonton once again. It's Draicidl with the attack down low, and the beautiful backhand pass over to Bouchard. Terrific save by Spencer Knight on the first one on Bouchard, but he elevates the second one up over top for the game-winning goal. And the Oilers pull this one out 3-2 in overtime.
Fifth career overtime winner for Evan Bouchard, and bang on. Spencer Knight with a heroic stop initially, but prostrate. He was helpless to stop Bouchard from going upstairs and giving Edmonton a 3-2 victory. The Oilers now 6-4-3.
Yeah, good team effort here. This was a hard battle. Both teams skated. Both teams checked really well. The chances came, but there weren't a ton of them. You had to really work to get inside in this game. And in overtime, as I talked about before, it was possession. You have it, you maintain it. That's when you usually get your grade A chance, and that's exactly what Edmonton did.
So the Oilers now 4-0-2 at home. Ron and Panels straight ahead. And later on, after hours with Jack Roslovic and Chris Knobloch. Final, Edmonton 3, Chicago 2. Hockey night in Canada.